I'm Sharon Bill. Welcome to my Music Theory Tuition series where I work with you step by step through the ABRSM Discovering Music Theory grades. I'll work through every single exercise and explain everything you need to know. You can access information about the books I have available to help you on my website. Go to sharonbill.com. For advert-free and longer lessons, you can become a patron at patreon.com/SharonBill. If you can give me a like, that would be super, and please do subscribe to my channel to stay updated. You can support this channel by buying me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/SharonBill. Continuing with the topic of irregular time signatures, we're looking at page 4, and if you read through the information here, we've been given some examples of how to hear these irregular time signatures, to hear the effect. And then we're also shown how the time signatures can affect the grouping, and the composer may want to be quite specific how these are grouped. And I'll just show you, out of interest, some piano music. This is from Bartok's Dances in Bulgarian Rhythm, some old piano music of mine. And here, can you see that the composer's written 2 + 2 + 3/8. He shows us exactly how he wants these to be kind of accented, where the beat will fall. And it's not 7/8 as such, it's going to be these particular groups within that 7/8. And if I just show you another example, so that's the second dance, and then if I just move on, it's got all my random scribble on it. Here we can see on the fourth dance of the set, we have 3 + 2 + 3, which you could say is 8/8, which could be 4 crotchet beats or 2 minim beats, but that would be inaccurate because it doesn't show us how that would be accented. If we did 4 crotchets, they are equally grouped in 4 regular beats, and here, or 2 minim beats would be 2 regular, and the composer does not want that effect. These dances are supposed to be they do represent the traditional folk dances of Bulgaria, which don't fit into this kind of modern meter. The composer wants to be completely true to the original, which was an irregular, unequal grouping, and it gives a very particular kind of musical effect. And so do listen to some different examples and notice how sometimes it can change kind of from a group of 3 to a group of 4, and then it might swap round, you know. So the composer might be quite specific, or it might just kind of be shown in the way that the notes are beamed. And so let's press on to page 5, where we get to look at this in a little bit more detail. And so we have here a little extract of music, 7/8. That means 7 beats per bar, and each beat is a quaver, because remember, we have divided from the whole note into 1/8 notes, and that's why our bottom number is 8. And so is it true or is it false that each bar contains 7 crotchets? Well, watch out, because it's not crotchet beats, it's quaver beats. And so that is false. Is it true or false that bars 1 and 3 are divided into 3 and then 4 beats? Well, here's bar 1, here's bar 3, and we can see these are grouped. Now, of course, you can't group a crotchet, but we can see why it falls into the groups as shown here, because this is not beamed on and this is not left at the end. And so here we can see 1, 2, 3, 4 quaver beats, and here we can see 1, 2, 3 quaver beats. So we've got a group of 3 and then a group of 4, and here we have a group of 3 quavers, just as we had here. It was just allocated to a crotchet and a quaver, whereas here it's 3 actual quavers, and then 2 crotchet beats does indeed give us a group of 4, and so that's correct, isn't it? Is it true or is it false that every bar is divided into the same groups of beats? Well, we know that bars 1 and 3 are. That's a group of 3, group of 4, group of 3, group of 4. But what about this middle bar? And we can see straight away we've got a group of 4 and then a group of 3. And so it isn't every single bar. This bar is grouped differently, so that's false, isn't it? And now moving on to exercise 5, we're asked to add some bar lines that are missing from these little melodies here. They all begin on the first beat of the bar and they all finish on a complete bar, and so really the thinking is done for us. All we've got to do is be careful counting out our maths. So we've just got to be very careful to count out, and if you just diagram out as you're working and just take it easy, you'll get there. And also, if you do get a little bit stuck in the middle, what you can do is, because we know the final bar is also a complete bar, we can count backwards to double check ourselves. So we'll start from this direction, and if we get stuck, we can double check from this direction. And if we continue in this direction, and then we get to the final bar should still have the correct number of beats. If it doesn't, it means we've gone wrong somewhere else. So if you want to just work through the first couple with me, that would be great. But as soon as you feel confident, do have a go on your own. Work in pencil, have an eraser and a ruler to hand. And then it doesn't matter if something goes wrong, you can always just erase it out and have another go. I know I always say it, but it is true. It's always better to learn by your mistakes. This is the time when we can make mistakes and learn and benefit from it. Better now than in the exam, I would suggest. So here we've got 5 beats per bar and we're counting in crotchet beats. So we just need to find each crotchet beat. So let's do that. So here's one crotchet, here's another. A triplet means 3 in the time of 2. Which is there another crotchet beat, there's a crotchet beat, there's a crotchet beat. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's our first bar line. And then this is where it perhaps gets a little bit tricky. So let's just diagram this out, and then we've done the thinking for lots of future reference. So we're looking for crotchet beats. So let's divide it into quarters. So here we have a quaver, which is half of the crotchet beat. Then we have a semi-quaver rest, so that's a quarter gone as a rest. And there's our final quarter. So altogether that's 1 crotchet beat. And actually we know that because they're beamed together. So really we can just see there's a beat. There's another beat. And then we know that a minim divides into 2 crotchets, and the dot gives us half as long again. There's our third crotchet. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so, hey presto, there's our next bar line. And then this looks like it's the final bar, so this should be correct and complete. So there's 1 crotchet, there's another. 3 into the time of 2 gives us 2 quavers, which again is a crotchet beat, and they are beamed together to show that. There's a crotchet, there's a crotchet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Everything's fine, we are correct. Let's press on. So now we're counting in quaver beats. So we're counting each quaver as a unit beat, and we need 7 per bar. So here we have 1 quaver, 2, 3, here's another one, 4. Now 1 crotchet divides into 2 quavers, 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And there is our bar line. Let's carry on. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. There's another one. Now 2 semiquavers. Make the same time as a quaver. There's a quaver. There's a quaver. How many have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 quaver beats. There's our bar line. Now we have a crotchet, which we know divides into 2 quaver beats. There's another crotchet. So in this is a 2-beat note because our unit is quavers. And we have the same again. And then we have a quaver. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's our bar line. And so this looks like it's the last bar, so this should be correct. There's 1 quaver beat, and then a dot after gives us half as much again, so that's like a semi-quaver's worth, and then there's a semi-quaver, and those two together give us a quaver, so altogether that is worth 2 quavers. There's a quaver, there's a quaver. Now a crotchet divides into 2 quavers, and then half as much again because of the dot is 1 more quaver. So 1, 2, 3, let's count that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's correct. So we're okay there. Everything's worked out fine. If you haven't done so already, I suggest you now press pause, try some of these on your own, and then we'll work through them and check them together to finish the page. Let's continue then. We're counting in crotchet beats now. That's our unit. And we need to make sure we get 7. So 1 minim becomes 2 crotchet beats worth. There's another 2 crotchet beats. Here's another 2 crotchet beats, and here's a crotchet. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's our bar line. Oh, that went wrong. I've got my ruler upside down, that's why. Oh, I say. Serves me right for rushing, doesn't it? There we go. Let's continue. There's a crotchet. 2 quavers added together gives us a crotchet beat. There's another. Now there's a crotchet, and then half as much again is a quaver's worth with a quaver's rest. So the dot and the rest there give us a crotchet beat. And then here is another quaver rest, quaver note, which will give us a crotchet beat. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's correct. So there's our bar line. Now a minim divides into 2 crotchets. Again, a minim divides into 2 crotchets. This is a minim rest. Don't forget to include the rests. And so the same again, a minim rest is 2 crotchet beats. And then there's a crotchet again. And so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now don't let the triplet here throw you. Remember that just means 3 in the time of 2. We have 3 crotchet beats in the time of 2 crochet beats. That's what we're interested in. How much time has it taken? And then we have a minim, which is another 2 crochet beats. Then we have a minim rest here, which is 2 crochet beats, and then the dot is half as much again, and we know that a dotted minim, there's our third of that group of crochet beats. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, we're okay. Everything is as it should be. Pressing on, we've got 5 quaver beats now, so we've just got to count quavers. So we have 1, 2, 3. Here's a quaver, half as much again as a semi-quaver, which with this semi-quaver gives us another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's our first bar. And then we have a quaver here. And then the dot is worth a semi-quaver, which with this semi-quaver gives us another quaver. And then there's our 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's another bar. And we already know how this works. Those create the quaver beat. There's a quaver beat. Rather than being 2 equal, it's just a long and a short. So we know that again, that's going to be a quaver and a quaver. There's a final quaver. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have a bar line underneath this tie. And now we've got semiquavers. So 2 semiquavers is a quaver, 2 semiquavers is a quaver, 2 semiquavers, and then we have quaver, quaver, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's our bar line. And we know that a crotchet divides into 2 quavers. There's another 2 quavers, and then there's a quaver rest. There's our 5th quaver beat, and that bar is correct and complete. We're counting 5 beats in this next exercise, but now we're counting in crotchet beats. So we're counting up to 5 crotchet beats. And so we can see there's a crotchet. And then a dot after that is half as long again, so that's worth a quaver. And with this other quaver, there is our next crotchet beat. And then here's a crotchet. And then here the dot is half as much again, a quaver's worth, and a quaver gives us another. Ooh. So there's another beat. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then here is our 5th. And then we put a bar line with the tie carrying us over into the next bar. So 2 quavers we know is a crotchet. There's a crotchet. And then half as much again is a quaver. I'll do that as a note, not a fraction. And then with that, that will be another quaver. We know that 2 quavers is a crotchet. And then we have the same again. So there's a crotchet, and the dot and the quaver gives us another crotchet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's our bar line. And we've got that pattern repeated, the same rhythm. So we know that there's 1, another crotchet between the dot and the quaver. There's 1, there's another between the dot and the quaver. And there's a final one. That dot, don't be confused, that's a staccato dot that comes above. That's an articulation mark. It's nothing to do with the timing at all. It's when it's after a note it changes the timing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's just easy to get thrown when your brain starts getting a bit confused with all this maths. And then this should be complete for our last bar. There's a crotchet. The dot and the quaver make another. There's a crotchet. The dot and the quaver make another. And there's another. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yippee, that's correct. There we go. And we have one more exercise to complete. So now we need to be counting 7 beats per bar, and each beat is a quaver. Now we know that a crotchet divides into 2 quavers, and then half as much again is another quaver. And then we have the same again, so we know that's going to be 3 quavers. And there's another quaver. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's our first bar. So here we've got 1, 2, 3, just plain old quavers. Now here we have 3 in the time of 2. And if we break those down into quavers, we know that 1 crotchet is 2 quaver beats. There's another crotchet, 2 quaver beats. So there's our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And so there is our bar line. It's quite simple if you just take it steady, just follow the process through and just carefully peg out the maths. Then we have 1 quaver. Now we know that a crotchet divides into 2 quavers, and then half as much again is our third, so there's 3. And there's another one. And then there's 2 quaver beats. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's our bar. 3 in the time of 2. So 3 quavers in the time of 2 quavers. A crotchet divides into 2 quavers. There's a quaver rest. And then we have 2 quavers again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's that bar completed. Ooh, getting a bit heavy-handed with my pencil there. And then we know that a dotted crotchet, we've done the maths already, is 3 quaver beats because a crotchet is 2 and half as much again. 3 quaver beats and then a final quaver rest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's correct. Slow and steady wins the race, and that's that page completed. hope this is helpful to your studies. Please do like and subscribe to stay updated. If you'd like to support this channel, you can buy me a coffee, and for advert-free lessons, you can become a patron. Do visit my website where you'll find many resources available to help you. Visit sharonbill.com. Thanks for watching. Bye.